I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about this.
Oh shit, Gary's thinking again. Hi guys, my name is Pin Valentine, and apparently atheism is confusing, so welcome to Preaching to the Dipshit Ministries. Now, a lot of what I say in this video, I've said in the comments of Gary's original video, which is in the description, but I put into greater detail here. Now, I've never seen so much generalizing, strawmanning, dishonesty, and projection in a single video. Watch this shit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Preaching to the Choir Ministries. And my question for the atheists today is this. If there are no moral absolutes, how is God evil?
Gary, I don't believe in good or evil, but if I did, God likely doesn't exist. So I don't think he is any more evil than Saruman. He is as the author made him. I don't think he is written well, and I don't think that the way he is written fits the narrative that is in an attempt to be portrayed, but evil is not a word to describe the character of God. In fact, I do my best to take the morality of God question with a wide berth. The question of God's morality has nothing to do with God's existence. They are two separate questions, and one does not insinuate the other.
According to you, not me, according to you, you say that God condones rape in the Bible, right? That's what you guys say, right? Well, I got a problem with that. See, you guys say God is absolutely immoral for allowing rape in the Bible and for condoning it because he doesn't magically come out the sky and stop the event from happening, right?
The problem is that you use the words according to you. Other atheists do not represent me, and I do not represent other atheists. When you generalize by saying things such as we think he is absolutely immoral for condoning such things, you show your lack of understanding of individual opinion. I believe in subjective morality, and I disagree with the ideas of absolutes outside of what is and isn't true. What I mean by this is whether something is known to us or not, only what is true is absolute. Even if we haven't discovered the truth yet, morality, so far as I can tell, has no absolutes. It is purely subjective, so the idea that any one person or any one character, as with this case, can be absolutely moral is impossible. The character of God can be immoral to any one person's standards, but it doesn't matter. Morality and the existence of God are two separate conversations. I would prefer to discuss one without involving the other. That is, unless, of course, you claim either the Bible or God as being your foundation for your morality.
Why is it that I've had numerous atheists, especially in hangouts in the past, where you guys have argued that not in all situations is rape wrong?
I don't know why you've had atheists tell you that. And I'd be willing to wager that that isn't entirely true. I would bet that what they have told you is that they believe rape to be wrong, but they don't know, and neither do you, whether or not rape is always wrong.
See, if rape isn't wrong in every situation, then rape is not absolutely wrong.
Yes, Gary, that would be why morality is subjective.
It's only wrong according to a person's opinion. That there's nothing wrong with it according to the atheist viewpoint.
There is something wrong with rape, Gary. If you were to ask me, because I cannot and will not speak on others' behalfs, rape is wrong because of the harm it appears to do to the victims. There are variables such as physical and emotional harm involved. As I've said, I cannot and will not speak on other people's behalves. However, though I cannot fathom what the occasion might be, I can imagine that there might arise such an occasion where rape is not wrong. I haven't any idea what that occasion might be. I can also imagine such an instance where an individual, for some reason, of which I cannot think of, might embrace the idea of rape being a positive. I can't think of what instances those are, but I'm not going to pretend that it isn't possible. That's what makes morality subjective, Gary. People have differing ideas of what is and isn't wrong. This should be fairly obvious to you since I don't believe it's okay to own another person. But you do.
But let's take this even further. Murder isn't even wrong in the atheist worldview.
That, Gary, is what we call a strawman fallacy. I am a subjectivist atheist who believes murder to be wrong. That is generally speaking. There are times where I find killing another human being to be okay. These circumstances would be things like killing Osama bin Laden.
But they believe that God is wrong for murdering people.
I can't believe that God is wrong for killing people because he is as the author wrote him.
You see, if a woman decides to murder her baby that's inside of her, or kill the baby that's inside of her, that woman is not considered to be an immoral agent.
I'm not going into an argument regarding abortion. That is a separate subject altogether. But I'll say only this. If you wish to tell me that abortion is wrong on religious grounds, I'll need to see some evidence that your God exists first.
But if God creates a human being and decides that this person has lived long enough and wants to judge this person and this person dies, God is immoral.
I really don't know where natural death fits in here. I don't believe that your God exists, nor do I believe that your God created anything. I also don't believe that he kills anyone, so I can't place blame on him for natural death, and as a result, I don't consider him being immoral. He is as the author made him.
Is that absolutely true that God is immoral?
I don't believe in absolutes regarding morality.
If it is absolutely true,
It isn't.
and absolutely evil what he's doing, why is that? And why is it that the woman is not?
Neither are.
See, here's the thing. Atheists love to pick and choose what's right and what's wrong. They don't have a moral basis for what they're talking about.
I'm pretty sure I don't pick and choose what is right and wrong in such a way as I believe you to be suggesting. If you mean that morality is subjective and opinions can be changed, then yes, I do. There are no moral bases which you suggest, no moral ground zero, so to speak. I do have grounds for what I believe to be right and wrong, but I'm getting to that.
They can make it up as they go along. That's why you guys got to ask them what is the moral basis for their morality. Because if you don't do that, they're going to be all over the place with you in a conversation.
I'm pretty sure I don't make it up as I go along, and you're welcome to ask me for my morality basis, which I'm happy to provide.
So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking like atheism has to be, especially you knuckleheads out there that like to argue subjectivism all the time. Atheism has to be the most confusing religion on the planet.
I would love for you to explain that. First, based on my understanding of the definitions of the two words involved, atheism is not a religion. Atheism is the belief that no literal God exists. It's that simple. Now, I usually ask people for their definitions on words and terms because I want to know where they are coming from on a specific topic. As Matt Dillahunty said, dictionaries don't describe words, they describe uses. This I agree with because words are often used differently than how a dictionary might describe them. For example, Gary seems to think that the word axe means ask. George Carlin said it even better when he said that there are thoughts and there are words. But Gary's not here to define his terms, so, for shits and giggles, I looked up both words in dictionary.com, which is not my preferred source, and discovered that my definition of religion lines up nicely with the first definition of religion on the website. A religion is a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies, usually involve devotional and ritual observances and often containing a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. Now, as I've said, I don't represent other atheists, and other atheists do not represent me, but I do fail to see how my atheism is a religion due to the fact that my lack of a belief in a God does not concern the cause, nature, and purpose of the universe, does not consider the universe as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies, does not involve devotional and ritual observances, and does not contain a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. Atheism is, rather simply, not a religion and only describes the idea that any sort of literal God probably doesn't exist. Subjectivism and atheism are also two separate ideas, and it is possible that an atheist can be a moral objectivist or a Christian a moral subjectivist. So my subjectivism has nothing to do with my atheism. I'll ask you, Gary, to explain how that is confusing.
When I talk to Muslims and they tell me that something's wrong, they tell me what their moral basis is. When I talk to other Christians, we know what our moral basis is. When I talk to any other religion out there, I know what their moral basis is.
Great. I'm happy for him. I have a basis for what I consider to be right and wrong as well, but I'm just waiting for you to say the magic word. I might add, having a moral basis based on a book does in no way prove that morality is objective.
Well, atheists seem to be the only people on the planet that when you talk to them about morality, it's wrong if God does it, but if a human being does the same thing, there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
I don't give two shits what God does. I don't believe that any God exists, therefore I don't believe that your God has any effect in my life, nor in the world. The only effect he had was what he did as a character in a book.
God isn't feeding hungry people, and as you as an atheist, if you're not feeding hungry people, that means that you are clear and God should be considered evil for allowing that.
Again, I don't give a shit what God does, but I think it's time to explain, Gary, why atheists argue God's immorality. This is, of course, my experience with other subjectivists. I don't know who you have spoken to, so I cannot vouch for them. As always, I do not speak for other atheists, or do they speak for me. Let me then amend my statement to explaining why I argue God's immorality when I am forced to go down that path. I argue God's immorality only when someone states that their morality, or all morality, is got from either God or the Bible. I then attempt to demonstrate that those are two poor places to obtain one's morality. I do this by saying that God likely doesn't exist, so, outside the Bible, it is impossible to know what God's actual morality would be. I also state that the Bible is a poor choice to derive one's morality because of the shitty things that it describes as being a part of holy or objective morality. These are such things like killing your kids should they disobey you, or owning slaves. But you're okay with that, of course. This is, of course, meant to demonstrate how your morality is still subjective, and that your morality is no better than anyone else's.
It's just ridiculous. I think that the atheist community needs to rethink what it means to be objective in their morality and what it means to be subjective in their morality.
There is no objective morality.
Particularly subjective, because 99.9% of them that are out there believe that morality is subjective, that is according to one's own opinion, his own personal ideas about what morality is.
Alright, here we go. Morality is subjective, but it is not based on simple opinion alone. That's a straw man approach. And now I have a feeling this is where the most dishonesty comes from. The basis on what one considers to be right and wrong comes from a number of sources: life experience, human emotion, parental upbringing, society, empathy, critical thinking, education, identification, nationality, religion, laws, family, personal bias. Broad consensus and conversation are only a few examples of where one's morality might come from. All are valid and none are perfect. This does not mean that morality is arbitrary, nor does it mean that subjectivity means unimportant.
And another little interesting point about that, if morality is subjective, God isn't evil. You can't say he's evil.
You're right, I can't say God is evil. As I've said here over and over again, I can only say that he is as the author wrote him.
Because morality is only dependent upon a person's opinion.
No, it's not.
If God believes that there's nothing wrong with wiping out the planet with a lightning bolt, you can't say anything about his morality.
If we are talking about God in the sense of a character in a work of fiction, you're right. I can't unless it is as a way to dissect the literature into its philosophical ideals. Let us imagine for a second that God does exist. Imagine that God does exist. Then, of course, I could say something about his morality should he decide to wipe out the earth with a lightning bolt. I can just as easily object to his morality just as I can about yours when you decided to steal a lockbox. That is why I listed conversation and critical thinking into the list of where one's morality might come from. They are, in my opinion, the two most important things that one must consider when discussing the morality of a given situation. I am free to discuss with whomever would be willing the morality of God's choice of wiping out the world with a lightning bolt. Of course, should your God exist, and he were to wipe out the planet with a lightning bolt, not that that would be possible, we wouldn't have a choice. And I think that the broad consensus, another in my list of where one might derive their morality, would be that God is immoral in the act because of his overruling free will. These are, of course, hypotheticals.
The same way God couldn't say anything about your morality if you chose to steal, kill, or whatever.
I have no idea what you've just said in the end there. But if God existed, he has as much right as we do to consider and discuss our morality. But there isn't a whole lot a fictional character could say or do about real-world situations.
And that's the atheist worldview.
No, it's not.
That's not my worldview. You see, I believe that God is a moral lawgiver and he has the right to tell us what to do and what we can't do.
I would love for you to demonstrate that, Gary. So far, at least in this video, you haven't.
It's pretty simple.
Is it?
When you talk to an atheist, man, it gets really complicated. It's according to your opinion, depending on what time of the day it is, whether or not they had their period or not, depending on what mood they're in, how they're feeling. Do they like this Christian? Do they not like this Christian? It just depends on how they feel.
Gary, you're strawmanning here. It's pretty dishonest. Feel free to consult the rest of the video here to determine where you are wrong. I've already said it all. It's only confusing to you because you're too fucking stupid to understand it.
It's just a stupid worldview to have.
I would love for you to demonstrate that as well.
Now I can hear them now. Oh, gee, man, atheism isn't a worldview. Stop. Think about what you're saying. Everybody has a worldview. You're an atheist that has a view of the world without God in it. Stop it. Okay? According to you, anyway. I got my own opinions about you.
Ah, fuck. I would have to agree with Gary here. As I understand it, a worldview is a philosophical apprehension of the world, and I understand that the world likely doesn't have a God in it. One of my philosophical apprehensions of the world is that there isn't a God. Therefore, atheism is a worldview. God damn it.
So, I just wanted to make this video. Atheism has just got to be the dumbest thing walking on this planet.
Please, demonstrate that as well.
Because they're telling you to give up your Christianity or to give up your faith in whatever it is that you believe, to be confused for the rest of your life.
I'm not telling you to give up your Christianity. I don't give a fuck if you give up your Christianity. You're welcome to hold these moronic beliefs for as long as you want. I just ask that you quit lying to the rest of us and forcing your religion on us. We will continue to fight back so long as you do so. As for being confused, I don't understand how I am confused. I have a pretty firm grasp on both atheism and subjectivism. They are not hard concepts to grasp.
These people are evil, but I'm not evil if I do the same thing.
The concept of evil is nonsensical, therefore I do not believe in evil. I also believe that one motion can be immoral, and that I am also immoral should I engage in the same fucking act.
Because it's all according to my opinion.
No, it's not.
I'm going to call God evil, even though I'm going to lie to everybody and tell everyone I'm being subjective, when in fact, I'm really being objective, because I'm my own moral authority here, where I can say what is right and what is wrong.
I don't believe in moral authority. I like to consider it more of a moral community, where conversation and critical thinking combined with the list that I outlined and other components which I might and probably have forgotten, is how a society discovers how to be more perfect. I must clarify that perfection is impossible to obtain, and ideas about morality, that is what is and isn't wrong, change. But that's why we keep having conversations about it. And we know that perfection is impossible, and that ideas as to what is and isn't wrong do change. That's why the United States don't whip black people anymore.
And this is going over the head of a lot of atheists online, but not the Christians. We understand what's being said here, and a lot of theists is understanding what I'm saying.
I don't think that you even understand what's being said here.
But you like I said, you atheists gotta lie to yourselves just to hold on to your position as an atheist.
I don't think I have to lie to myself to hold on to any position. All I need is to have my mind changed, and that comes with evidence.
One of these days, you're gonna let it go, and you're gonna wake up, and you're gonna realize that Jesus is Lord, and you're gonna repent.
Great. Give me some evidence, and I'll do that.
But for the time being, I'll leave you to your stupor, and you can continue to believe what you want. But at the end of the day, morality is objective, not subjective, and you need to repent while you still got time. God bless.
For now, Gary, I'll leave you to your stupor. Morality is subjective, which I explained in this video, not objective, which you haven't demonstrated. You need some critical thinking. Read your Bible, and please try not to do some of the shitty things it tells you to do. This has been Preaching to the Dipshit Ministries. I'm Pin Valentine. If you like this video, give the like button a tickle. And until next time, you're all amazing. Stay that way.